Usually when you play Starfield, you can have one follower, one person that is just there to be used as a living backpack or a meat shield. But what if you could have more? What if everyone you spoke to wanted to go adventure with you? From the security guards to the bartenders. What if you could start a cult? I'll be straightforward with the rules. I can take anyone I want on my adventures, and 99% of the time they will be the ones doing the fighting. I will be one of those generals that sits on their horse and yells commands. If push comes to shove, I will do battle, but only if I have to. So yeah, that's about it. Let's get into it. Instead of going to the Constellation Dorks first, I went to Vectera to grab Muscle Mommy Lynn and Hunky Heller to be my first companions. I also ranked up my boost pack training for the sole reason of not knowing what to rank up. So just did the eeny meeny miny mo game and picked one. With my first two cult followers on the ship, it was time to recruit more of these gullible people to fight for my cause. And New Atlantis was the perfect place to start my expansion. You see, on the way to the lodge there are plenty of stops where one could recruit believers who would give their lives for your cause. I went around coffee shops recruiting people with only my presence. And man, everyone was saying yes. By the time I entered the lodge, I had amassed quite a huge following and was quite pleased with myself. I talked to the Constellation gang, and instead of me joining them, this time they joined my polyamorous relationship. While my squad of followers was growing, it was still far too small. So it was time to head out and recruit more of these meat shields. My plan here was to just grab as many of these UC Vanguard bros as I could, thinking they would probably the most well-equipped NPCs on Jemison. After getting everyone I wanted here, the main mission led us to Mars. And Mars has a colony of people just looking for someone to lead them. I do a head count of my minions, because you know, they're like my pets and I have feelings for them. After everyone was accounted for, I went on a little scavenger hunt throughout the Mars colony looking for new additions to my cult. Then I met Noam, a robot that can't work anymore, so they just put this poor old boy here to tell dad jokes. But I wanted to give him another chance, to show how useful he actually is. He starts raising up like a phoenix from the ashes and he's back on the floor. Oh well, you can't say I didn't try to help him. I recruit a few more suckers and head back to the ship to regroup and decide what to do next. We decided it was finally time to hit up that old star yard around Earth's moon, test out the power and grit of our current army. Also, there is an increasing problem where all of your followers kind of spawn behind you and almost push you through the wall. But still, that's a small sacrifice to be able to lead these fine people. Leading them to the first enemy spacer, I realized something. The same awful AI programming that the enemies use is the same AI programming my followers are pulling from, basically meaning that this is going to be like two stormtroopers from Star Wars trying to shoot at each other. The gang enters the main room and they start mowing the enemies down left and right. I mean, when they all get in line and just blast into one enemy, it's actually pretty entertaining. There is another problem, where I can't really get out of a room because of them. They try to follow me everywhere, so they usually bunch up around doors and block them. We enter the main room and this is where they kinda disappoint me. Seems like tight spaces they can manage, but the moment they enter an open space, it's like they lose all sense of direction and shoot at random walls. At one point, I found out that I could kind of herd them towards the enemies by just standing behind the person I wanted them to shoot, and they would actually shoot. While editing this, I just now realized that I could have probably used the manipulation skill to make my followers kill exactly the enemy I wanted them to murder. But that would have been fun, right? They finish off the last of the enemies and I was quite proud of what we accomplished here. So I guess it was time to go back to our ship. Or not? Yep, since they all spawn behind me after each door I enter, if there is another door opposite that door, I without question phase right through it. Which means you never know what could happen. I finally leave the star yard and head for Neptune. Around Neptune, we board a ship overrun by the Ecliptic to save a potential new follower and grab the first sacred object for our cult. On the ship, we took care of the Ecliptic pretty fast, rushed to meet and recruit our new follower, and grab the first of many totems that will become the cornerstones of our beliefs. My gang was so happy with our first acquisition that they decided to corner me on the ship's bridge, and then later block my path that leads back to our ship. Well, you know what they say, if you want to have a cult-like following, the people you recruit can't really be smart, otherwise they can see through your bullshit. It was time to return to New Atlantis, but before I enter the lodge, I marvel at our current following for a second. Marvelous. I finally placed our totem on the pedestal, creating a shrine where my followers can praise me. One could say that we are still a startup level cult and have a lot of room to grow. But in this line of business, you don't have to pay your followers with credits. They will gladly throw their lives away for you for free. Anyway, it was time to continue our crusade to the cowboy island called Aquila City. The guard at the entrance to the city tells us there is a bank robbery in progress and that I should be careful. I thank him and of course recruit him for our cause. Knowing that we needed something from this bank, we offered offer our cleaning services to the sheriff if he joins our gang, which he accepted without problem. The gang enters the bank and everything was going smoothie patootie. The Shaw gang was no more, and we were free to grab the map that leads us to our next sacred object. Of course, I did some recruiting on the side and headed towards the cave that had our totem. There was a gang guarding the cave, so to test our might, a small war broke out. It was also kind of fitting that it was dark and foggy. True guerrilla warfare. One of my followers even started to float because of the adrenaline, but I was getting tired of this since it was taking too long, so I did the old stand behind your enemies maneuver in hopes of my followers shooting the people closest to me. And it worked perfectly. Entering the cave, I grabbed our precious artifact from its rocky prison, getting abstract space visions on where the other artifacts are located. Back outside, there was more enemies to shoot, and man were my followers horny for some fresh meat. Witness the abilities given to us by our deity, people walking on thin air. After clearing all the enemies, it was time to leave and search for more sacred objects. I did get a tip that an old friend was being held prisoner by one of those space pirate organizations, so me and my crew were getting ready to save this sucker for obvious reasons. Raiding their base was really easy. Somehow, the pirates didn't notice my giant ship landing right beside them. Anyway, we find Barrett having a casual conversation with the pirate captain. It did cross my mind to recruit these pirates, but from what I've seen outside, they're more stupid than I'd like. Thus, the next obvious action was to delete them from this universe. My PC started to break at one point, so the whole game lagged like crazy. Who would have thought that having more than 30 NPCs in one room is heavy on your computer? I teleported back to my ship because I ain't walking back while having 10 FPS. And would you look at that? Noam, the robot that can't walk, is on our ship. I guess he does move, but it takes a while. It's really funny how he just ended up in front of my seat. Oh well, not all followers have to be fighters, right? On the next planet we land on, we meet our double agent Andreja, who told us about another one of our cult sacred objects being stuck in a rock. Of course, there are enemies guarding it, so I had no other choice than to jump towards them with my followers in tow. Here's where I kind of realize how bad the AI tracking is. It would almost be better if they had melee weapons to slash at me with, because with guns they don't turn fast enough to actually land a bullet on me. I actually felt bad for them for like a second. Eventually we roll up to the artifact and pick it up. Returning to the lodge, I place the artifact on our pedestal. Suddenly, one of my followers tells me they have a vision of a temple. Vladimir here says that we need to go to a certain planet to obtain a mystical power. Say less, Vladimir my boy, we are already on our way. Getting close to the temple, I could feel something in my pants start to grow. At the entrance, I was so hard it felt like I could break one of those karate boards with my meat. While inside, I didn't expect every single one of my followers to enter the temple. To be fair, it was quite funny watching them aimlessly fly around the room. They kinda look like fish in an aquarium, fish that follow you around, that is. I finished the temple puzzle and obtained my first power. After all that shine and glitter, I went back to the lodge to be able to show my cult the powers I got in a safe space. They were all happy for their leader, showing their glee with smiles and cheers. Anyway, next stop was some wannabe Sodom and Gomorrah city, with way too many neon lights strewn about, and you wouldn't need to think a lot about the name of this place to figure it out. Yep, it's called Neon City. Oh wait, I'm here for an artifact. I better get to it. You see, I set up a meeting with the guy that has one of our artifacts in his possession. I also recruit him because why not? Haven't done it in a while. I told him to meet us in one of the VIP lodges so we could do the exchange of goods. But he is not here, and he just left us the artifact? I guess being a leader of a cult has its merits. I grabbed the free artifact and some guy is waiting for us outside the room wanting to steal it from us. Well sir, I think you picked the wrong person to steal from. On the way out of here, two of my followers tell me that our ship has been impounded. I was 4 months late on my ship payments, and I guess the repo men have a base on this planet. So I went to their front desk to repay my debt. Repay it in bloodshed and bullets, that is. All hell broke loose as my cult members went bananas on everyone that worked there. And I mean everyone, from security to office workers. Seeing how I needed to talk to the higher ups to get our ship back, we all jumped in the elevator to go to the executive floors. Which was a bad idea since 50 people can't fit into one elevator comfortably. Thus began a 20-minute struggle to get to the elevator controls to open this damn door. Ah, finally. We may now continue the killing. I was checking the dead bodies and marveling at the good work they were doing. Finally, we get to the head honcho who impounded my ship and proceeded to make him regret he ever went near our flying vehicle. The last of the security was no more. Our spaceship was finally free. As a final fuck you to the debt collectors, my crew went absolutely bonkers on this poor security camera, yet still couldn't destroy it without losing all of their ammo. Well, what can you do? A final goodbye to Neon was me going around and recruiting the local security to join our cause. Ah, back on my throne once again. Time for liftoff. In orbit around Neon, we meet another Starborn, aka other people trying to start their own cults, which means they also want our precious artifacts. They pretty much leave straight away. Honestly, I don't know why. Maybe to make the plot more interesting, I guess. We head back to the lodge where the main Constellation crew was meant to do a quick meeting around the table, and Noel here was the one intended to lead the meeting. But the problem was that because of the sheer amount of followers in this room, there was no way for her to get to the table, so I had to do something to make these NPCs move more. You see, the idea was to use gravity well to jumble them up together closer to the table. It took me a few attempts to get it right, but eventually the meeting did start, although Noel was even close to the table. Don't ask, I really don't understand the mechanics of this game. After the meeting was over, I placed our precious artifacts on our pedestal. I then talked to Vladimir again since he has the vision power of seeing where the artifacts are, and he promptly gives me exact locations of a few more. Me and my followers go and grab them from their rocky prisons real quick, before the other cults can steal them from us. The third artifact, though, was located on a rare item collector's spaceship called the Scow. We board the ship in hopes of negotiating for the artifact, but on the way to the captain, we recruited a few of his crew for our cause. Finally, we get to meet the weirdo captain, and of course, he was not going to give us the artifact for free. So we had to turn him and the rest of his crew into a bloody mess. After all that, we get to his stash and steal our precious artifact. Going back to our ship, we plot a course back to the lodge and place the 3 artifacts we collected on the pedestal. While at the lodge, we receive a message that our star station has been attacked by one of the Starborn, so a few of my followers went with me to help our members stranded there. When we get there, we find them hurt and on the ground but not dead, and they tell us that the Starborn went to the lodge to attack the rest of them. Wait, why did you tell us to come here then? Now I have to go back to the lodge to protect them? My god, these guys are not smart at all. I go back to the lodge and find Sarah's dead body laying on the ground. There was like 30 of my followers here, and the combination of all their firepower was not enough to unalive one Starborn? Makes sense, I guess. I found out that Noel took all the artifacts for safekeeping and escaped into the well. We find her shitting her pants in the sewers, but soon enough she was calming down. Suddenly, the Starborn that attacked my cult showed up out of thin air. All hell broke loose pretty quick. Then shit really hit the fan when the Starborn turned my followers against each other. At one point, it got so bad that I just ran away. I ran all the way to my ship in hopes of getting off this planet and do a head count of members left after the massacre. The Starborn followed me into orbit around Jemison and just said that he would leave me alone? Is this... do you have plot armor? Am I the main character? Why is he just letting me go? He leaves and I head towards our cult star yard. I talk to Noel and she gives me all the artifacts, suggesting that from now on the artifacts pedestal should be made on our own ship. I did exactly what she told me, so there was no point in going to the lodge anymore. Having lost quite a lot of followers, I go to a religious leader for some tips on how to cope with losing that many people. And he just says, just get more of them, bro. And that's exactly what I did. I find the Starborn asshole that decimated half of my members, board his ship, and proceeded to recruit both him and his boyfriend. Why, you ask? Well, if he was a better shooter than those who died, then he's worth as much as they all were. Cult Economics 101. Since now I have them by the balls, they told me about 2 more hidden artifacts I need to find. The first one being in an old NASA lab on Earth. We take a stupidly long walk to the lab, climb it, and enter the facility. There's nothing really interesting here, just a bunch of corridors leading us deeper and deeper down. Finally, after what it seemed like going to the center of the Earth, we find and grab the artifact from its pedestal. Suddenly, some Starborn from Wish start attacking my crew, but these Starborn seem like light versions of ones we recruited, so defeating them was really easy. We eventually exit the damn base and talk to Vlad, the visionary, about the location of the final artifact, which is located on Freya, powering some sort of laboratory. I go up to the door and tell the security guard that we are the pizza delivery. He unlocks the door and tells us to come inside because they are famished. And I broke the mission. Usually the security guard would check you at the door, then escort you to the boss lady, but since I have so many followers, I teleported through 2 locked doors. I went to talk to the security guard at the front, but he would just give me the NPC stare. Yep, there's nothing going on behind those eyes. My next option was to go directly to the director, and that was possible since all the doors were now unlocked. And success! Talking to her triggered the correct mission sequence, so we could continue it normally. Or not? That's fine, we can continue the mission from here. I find the researcher that is stuck here and of course recruit him because no one deserves to be alone. His joy was short-lived though, because we instantly teleported back to the other universe. Oh, the security guard is not soft-locked anymore. Wait, why is he leading me to the pantry? I turn around and ask him and... wait, the guy we just recruited from the other dimension. He followed us? Talk about commitment, huh? I somehow managed to get to the fabrication lab without teleporting to the other dimension. But now the research lady is glitching and she won't enter the lab. No, where are you going? Go back towards the lab, please. No, towards the lab, Please listen. Go towards the lab. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Finally, we can continue the mission. Ugh. She's not gonna talk, is she? All that trouble just to get soft locked. Maybe talking to the security guard will help. Oh cool, I just need to follow him? Great, can I be released from this POV? Hello? Why can't I move? Oh, don't tell me. I'm even more stuck than I was before? Ugh. Okay, let's try this again. Perfect, she is here now. Why couldn't we do this from the start, huh? Anyway, we do some science magic with lights. Yay, we can control the teleportation between the two dimensions. Oh wait. Where are my followers? I haven't seen them for a while. Are they all stuck in the security guard's locked room? How the hell did this happen? I am useless without them. Will I really need to face my fears and demons alone now? Nah, it's fine. I'll just recruit the random people of the lab. Okay, I guess it's time to go down the elevator to find the artifact. But then a realization hit me. They can't follow me through these tiny portals. But you know what? I ain't no bitch. It's time to prove that I can be on my own. That was nice and refreshing. I finally leave the lab to find my followers locked in an intense battle with the local fauna. Boarding my ship, I add the artifact to my pedestal. My Starborn friends told me that the final and most important one was located on Masada 3, some sort of army base long abandoned. 3 lesser Starborn show up before us, thinking that they could stop my small army. Little did they know that they were the ones that are gonna get bent over. And bent over they got. Next on the docket was a Starborn that can reanimate the dead, but as is custom by now, my cult is like a plague and we destroy everything that is hostile to us. After all that fighting, we entered the main base one step closer to our goal. Inside there were those dimensional portals that took you somewhere else, and when I tried to enter the first one, of course the game soft locks. Or does it? You see, for some odd reason, the time it takes to load this part is ultra long. Like 20 minutes. And when you get there, there is no Hiller or Lynn. Also, I was scared how long it would take to get out of here. So I charged towards the portal and I was out instantly? How does that make sense? I didn't think about it too much, as I knew that I had to get past 2 more of those portals later on. And I have a fight on my hands. A fight that ended way too fast. I didn't even see the Starborn that attacked us. Oh well, I guess we just move on. There ain't no rest when you have a cult to run. I mean, look at them. They are already ascending to a higher plane of existence and obtaining powers. Anyway, it was time to face the music of the second portal. And this one didn't go well at all. You see, I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and no dice. I just reloaded my save and had to bite the bullet. The game's buggy missions forced me to use the out of bounds command. There was one more buggy teleporter left and I swore I would pass it normally. I pressed the button on the elevator to go down and prayed that nothing weird happened. We made it, kinda. We made it through the teleporter, but can't move at all. Not even with my mouse. I can use my powers and shoot, but that's about it. Eventually, we got freed and managed to continue the sequence. After a quick chat, I turned around and braced myself for my final teleport. This feels stable. For the love of God, please let us make it down safely. There we go, we are free. Finally, we can continue. We enter this huge cave where another low-level Starborn is waiting for us. Suddenly, a scene from the Star Wars Clone Wars starts. Honestly, this was kinda cool to watch. A payment of sorts for dragging all these deadbeats around. And before you know it, the final Starborn is gone. Finally, we were at the gates of success. One final artifact waiting for us behind these stupid doors. Look at it, it's beautiful. But oh no, what is this? The two Starborn I recruited earlier are double-crossing me. But it seems like my followers are already attacking them? Man, talk about being proactive. We quit the chit-chat and man, this place is going bananas. Soon after, they started to teleport us so we could fight on different stages. And honestly, this looks way cooler than if I was fighting them alone, right? Teleporting to previous places we visited, getting blasted and set on fire, being stuck in an elevator like sardines, watching the battle happen from the worst seats in a concert hall. It's like watching a Fast and Furious movie in one of those 4D theaters. Finally, we were at the last stage of this fight. And as you can see, my followers have all bunched up to be as effective as possible. Nonetheless, they were still victorious and defeated the two Starborn that dared to cross us. We get teleported back and scavenge their bodies for their artifacts. I grab the final artifact and head back to my ship with the gang. I add the artifact to the pedestal on the ship and tell my whole crew that we are ready to go to the Unity. We launch off into space, turn on our ground drive, and we're off to the Unity. I mean, I am off to the Unity. Yep, I lied to them all. I never wanted to take anyone with me. They were all just a means to an end. All jokes aside, I hope you like this weird playthrough. Definitely not the way Bethesda intended, but still quite fun for me. Make sure to tell me what I could have done better, and I hope this inspired you to create your own cult and worship some made-up deity. Until next time, lads and ladies, peace.